Shi Dawan's perspective. I walk through the corridor of my pupil's dorm, my weighted vambraces resting against my lower back. I bring an arm in front of me and wave as I approach the door. A tone sounds from within, alerting the occupant to my presence. A few moments pass before, more than a head above mine, a pale-skinned face appears from behind the sliding door. Visibly confounded, my pupil just stands there, staring blankly down at me for a moment before observing, "It's you," simply. "Indeed it is, Tudiming," I answer. "Can I help you with something?" he asks, splaying his hands. "Yes. May I enter? I wish to talk with you, Ming." He frowns but stands aside, turning to walk back into his room. He gestures vaguely to an armchair that faces in the direction of an enormous, dark-furred, six-legged predator, occupying the space where a bed ought to be. I lower myself down to the seat, and my pupil collapses down to the floor against his pet. He's got a rather villainous-looking figure in the dimly lit room, using one of the galaxy's most fearsome predators as a reclining seatback. He gestures vaguely at me with the same hand he used to fracture my left scapula recently, while he was not himself. "What's this about?" he asks, managing to keep a sneer off his face and out of his voice. "I have come to apologize, Ming," I state. Cocking a copper eyebrow over a bright green eye, he prompts, "Oh yeah?" "Yes, I was wrong." Folding his arms and appraising me skeptically, the large man inquires, "And what's brought this on?" "I can't simply have honestly and spontaneously reevaluated and reconsidered my actions," I smile calmly. Unimpressed, the man flatly answers, "Shifu, you're a serious contender for the cockiest, smuggest, most arrogant son of a bitch in the galaxy. I somehow doubt this was spontaneous." "All right, Ming," I concede. "This was induced by something." "And what's that?" I sigh. "It was at the prompting of my therapist." He sits up, a look of mild alarm on his face as he asks, "Ali told you to come here?" "No," I refute. "Her husband is my therapist." "Oh, right," he answers, relaxing slightly. "Still, bit surprised you see a therapist at all. So what did Mark tell you, if you're okay with me asking?" "He didn't tell me anything so much as he led me to see something." "Right, yeah. Therapist magic," he quips, waving his hands in a parody of the metaphysical. "So what he led you to see then?" "That I was wrong to equate the absence of self, which you experienced, and with which you and Fang bested me, with detachment. That I was wrong to view attempting to emulate it as desirable. That you are a better fighter when you are yourself. Maybe not in your ability to defeat your opponent, but certainly in your ability to discern who is an opponent, and how much violence is required to subdue them. That I allowed myself to become so fascinated with the aptitude you demonstrated when in such condition, that I ignored both your feelings on the matter, as well as the incredible value you have when fighting as yourself. And finally, that I could permanently sour a relationship with a valued pupil if I did not act to make amends," I answer sincerely, meeting his bright jade green eyes throughout. "Right. So, all the same stuff I said when we argued originally then?" he observes. "Yes," I confirm. The simplicity of my answer causes the large man to chuckle in amusement before he sighs, his hand moving to between the ears of his companion animal and scratching idly. Finally he responds, "Yeah, I know the feeling. Being told something 1,000 times in plain English ain't enough to get it through my thick skull, but following a trail of breadcrumbs to it and it suddenly seems like the most obvious thing in the universe. I ain't gonna pretend I don't get it. And honestly, you hadn't come here, I probably would have ended up coming to you to clear the air. I don't really like holding grudges. Gets exhausting." I smile at my pupil. "I'm glad we could reconcile before we parted, Ming." He frowns. You ain't staying to make a report on Citadel? About the new species martial arts? I shake my head. Learning their arts was my personal agenda, not part of my official role. I shall be boarding a transport bound for Earth shortly after we arrive tomorrow, and then on to Zindequin from there. If the ODR want my insights on the Vrakkand and Twig arts, they shall have to send someone from the branch there to ask me politely for them. Another chuckle comes before the man stands up. I follow his lead, but have far less distance to rise before I'm at my full height. Looking slightly down on me for a few moments, my pupil says, "In that case, Shifu?" He brings his hands in front of his chest and covers the knuckles of his right fist with the palm of his left hand, bowing. "It's been an honor to learn from you. I hope our paths cross again at some point, and I hope by then I'm anywhere near skilled enough to stand a chance against you by myself and while I am myself." Matching his Baoquan, I bow to him in turn. "I shall keenly await the day," I smile before adding, "and do not forgo your meditations in the meanwhile, Ming. You know I'll know." He laughs. Gordon's perspective. I'll take a deep breath and open the incubator, bracing for the worst. I let out a breathy, wheezing laugh when I see what's inside. Across the enormous, man-shaped gel layer under the liquid-filled space below the sealed lid is, unmistakably, a sheen of iridescent red. Bloody hell, it's actually working, I say to myself. "That must be worth some kind of reward, right, Duke Chandler?" answers a disembodied half-whisper from the other side of my lap behind me. Startling, my spine straightens, and I whirl around to see where Xerxes' hologram is materializing into being across the room as the lid slams shut as I turn. "Jesus bloody Christ, Xerxes! Don't do that!" I say for the 1000th time. Ignoring me, the holographic sociopath walks through the workbenches to where I stand and slides her intangible arms around my shoulders while looking down at the box. I turn back around to look at it too, causing her to readjust the positioning of her arms to not have them intersect in my body. "So is it working, Gordy?" she prompts. "Yes, it's working. With this, we can reevaluate the timescale of the plan. It won't take anywhere near as long as we thought." "I see," she answers, feigning interest, but her mind clearly still only on one thing. "So that's—" "Yes, Cersei. It's worth a reward. You can come up to my place when you're back on Bastion, and I'll give you what you want." I sigh at the haughty Dutch woman. "Oh, goody." She grins up at me, exposing the holographic representations of the vampire fangs I gave her.